Hey guys, welcome back to week 7 of digital learning. This week we are going to continue looking at monologues, but we're also going to be taking it back a step and adding a scene as well. But don't panic because I'm going to get you there in a pretty fun and interesting way. So this week we're going to use picture prompts. So what that means is when you finish watching this video and you click on the assignment for your class period below, it'll take you to another page on eClass like last week did. And it'll look very similar to this. So the first thing you'll see is a little bit of directions, and then you'll see a big picture. Your picture is going to be different than mine, but you'll see a big picture, and then there will be some questions that you'll need to answer, and I'm going to show you guys how that works through the lesson today. The first part of the directions that you'll see says to take a really close look at the picture and kind of just analyze what's going on in the picture. So the one that I have in front of me, I can see there's these tall, pretty worn buildings you can see in the structure that it has like somewhere the paint's kind of chipped off. It desperately needs to be cleaned, so more than likely these are really old buildings. Down towards the bottom of the picture, I noticed that there are people walking around. They're using wooden carriages with giant wooden wheels and things like that. So this definitely tells me that the picture was either taken or painted. I want to say this is probably a painting of some sort. I'm not 100% sure. A long time ago. And it's called Narrow Living is the title of the picture. So that could mean any sorts of things. And you guys can interpret the pictures that you have on your end however you would like. It's more of your interpretation of what you see rather than there being a right or wrong answer for everything. And that's something I want to stress. Like this week, it's literally your interpretation of what you're looking at. So for me looking at this picture, I've got the two buildings. They're really close together. Normally buildings that are that tall aren't that close together. If I'm looking towards the right side of the image, I can see that there are some balconies to the sides and how they just face the wall right here, whereas these directly in front of us kind of face whoever's making the picture. So they have a little bit more that they can look at. So narrow living, I'm going to assume, is just because there's narrow space between these things. You can see there's like rugs and clothing hung over the railing, presumably to dry off. This almost looks like there's maybe a shop or maybe someone's just got this tarp out to provide shade. I'm not sure. So I've analyzed the picture a little bit, and it either looks like early morning or late afternoon. I would assume this is probably early morning, just based on the brightness and the background and the color of the sky, as well as the amount of people that are out. So underneath it, you'll find prompt questions and an automatic rate. So the prompt questions vary between like 8 to 10 questions, I believe, per picture. And you'll just answer them based on your interpretation of what's happening in the scene of the picture. So there's no right or wrong answers. So when it asks a question, I'm not looking for a very specific, straightforward answer for this instance. This is just your creative thinking. So you'll answer the prompt questions, and then at the bottom it has an automatic rate that you're going to do. You're not going to be writing your monologue or your scene today. That's going to be for later this week. So you'll use the same exact picture that you're using today for the lesson either on Wednesday or Thursday. So the prompt questions, after looking at the picture, answer the questions to help come up with your monologue or scene. So this is kind of like a pre-writing like we did last week with your monologues. It's a pre-writing exercise. Remember, there are no right or wrong answers. You're using this to help you create a character or a scene. So some of the questions might help you better understand the characters in the image. Some of the questions will help you better understand what's happening in the scene. So the picture that I have has this very large scene, and it's got both characters and a setting that I need to work with. So because we're answering on eClass, you're not going to answer directly under each question. So I'm going to show you how you would respond in the text box below, just to make sure you're doing so in a way that I can understand better. Make sure that you're numbering your answers, because some of you guys, when you answered the questions for the monologues last week, didn't number your answers, and it made it very difficult to understand what you were saying or answering or responding to. For some of y'all, it looked like y'all were writing your monologue instead of just answering the questions. So make sure you number them. And then let's get started. So it says, what city are these narrow buildings in? So I'm going to go back up, and I'm looking. And I'm going to say these are in some like old European looking city. So I don't know. Let's say I'm making it up, so I'm gonna say it's somewhere in like rural Italy. I don't know, or suburban Italy. I don't know. Urban Italy. Possibly outside of, what are some cities in there? Venice. Venice is the only city from there I can think of, so I'm gonna put Venice. Italy. Okay. So, how many apartments are in each building? Is it one to a floor, or are they divided up? And so I've got this small picture over here, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I can see it all too well, so I'm going to scroll back up. And in your example, it'll just have the big image. So how many apartments in each building? Is there one floor, or is it divided up? So I can see just from looking at it that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 5 floors. And it looks like there could even be a, oh, well, this building has 5, and then this one looks like it has this extra basement area to make its total 5, so this one's 6. So let's say we'll put 5 to 6 floors. So 5 to 6 floors in each building, and then how many, it says how many apartments, so I need to answer the part first. Okay, so if I'm looking, it's really hard to see in between to see how many are on each side, but I'm seeing at least 1, 2, maybe 3 or 4, so let's say 3 on each level, because the buildings don't look super big, so we'll say 2 to 3 on each level. I'll say 3, so 3 apartments on each floor, and there are, we'll go with the 5 floors, so 3 on each floor would be, here's my math, maybe 15 apartments with 3 on each of the 5 floors in the building. All right. So next question. And remember, there's no right or wrong answer. Try to answer as close to complete sentences as you can. Notice mine aren't necessarily full sentences, but I'm still giving you more than just one-word answers. Is the building well maintained or falling apart? And see, that's something that I commented on when we first started looking at this. And so I'm going to say that the building's sort of falling apart. Building is falling apart a bit as it's there a bit. It looks like the paint is worn or has worn away. And looks like it could use some. See, even teachers spell wrong. No, you didn't help me spell this word. Here we go. All right. Let's see. Who are the occupants? Upper class, middle class, lower class, mix. I'm gonna say it's a mix of lower middle class occupants. Perhaps the middle class is on the top floors. All right, number 5. Do the occupants keep to themselves, or do they know everyone else's business? So I'm going to say most of the occupants keep to themselves, but those that have balconies near the lower levels keep an ear out for the gossip business of others. Okay. Write out a character description of one of the occupants. Include gender, age, occupation, and who shares an apartment with them. Why does this person choose to live there? So that question alone, I'm creating an entire character. So I'm going to say that Beatrice, aged, I don't know, let's say 31. She's female, 31 years old, housewife, lives with her husband and 3 children, which is a lot of children for back then. I don't know, she just, character comes to mind. Why does the person live here? They live on the, let's say the 2nd floor? No, 1st floor. first floor because that is how they could afford on her husband's salary. I could even go so far as to describe what the husband does. I could say he works for, I don't know, this is an older time, so maybe he works at the market and he goes out and takes care of land, or he goes fishing because they're in Venice, I guess. So I could elaborate more, but I'm going to stop here. If you want to elaborate more, feel free to do so. Are these apartments filled with hope or despair, and why? That's a good question. I'm going to say that they're filled with hope. Because they could have worse living conditions. But they have a nice view of the ocean. Well, I don't think that's an ocean. It's more of I think it's the Mediterranean Sea. So I'm just going to put the sea from there. Balconies and the area that they live and work. The area that they live in has a lot of let's end the sentence so I'm not doing it wrong. This area, this community works together to help each other out in their everyday lives. Okay, let's just finish here. All right. What's the view from the windows? Well, I just came up with it. They can see the ocean or the sea because it's in Italy. And then what kind of music is played in these apartments? Since I'm assuming it's an older time, they would play piano or maybe a violin, some type of guitar. No recorded music given the time period. Alright, so this recording doesn't have a lot of time left in it, so I'm going to go ahead and just explain this next part to you guys. So set a timer for 3 minutes and answer the following. What comes to your mind when you look at the picture? Look at it from top, bottom, left, right. Have you ever lived in cramped quarters? Keep writing the whole time. So in this recording that I'm doing, it won't allow me to record for another 3 minutes because I've already gone over a little bit. But what you would do here is you would just set a timer either on your phone or you can look at your computer screen and you're just going to write for 3 minutes without stopping. So what comes to your mind when you look at the picture? I kind of explained a lot of that to you guys when I first started the recording and looked at the picture. And then it says, have you ever lived in cramped quarters? So I explained it at the beginning. If you want to go back and listen to my analysis of the picture, you can. That would be what I wrote. And then when I was a kid living in cramped quarters, my sister and I always had to share a pretty small bedroom. We had a bunk bed, and that was pretty much it. We had a very small house when I was younger, but not everybody had a whole lot of space. We just kind of tried to deal with what we had to do. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up here. You would not just leave it blank. You need to make sure that you answer the question, and you just write for 3 minutes. So however fast you can write in 3 minutes, or however you type in 3 minutes. I know some of you guys can type really fast. I probably could write a whole bunch in 3 minutes, but like I said, the recording's running out of time. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. Just keep in mind that this lesson is going to build in the next class. So when you come back, you're not going to be answering these questions. You'll be fully writing a monologue and a scene. Okay, and all of the details will be explained on eClass when you click back. So have a great day. I'm glad to see you guys back in week 6 or 7. Excuse me. And then don't forget, next week we're going to be reviewing, and the week after that we're going to have our final exam on May 15th, that Friday, May 15th. So everything that you do this week is going to kind of be the last little wrap up of monologues, and then next week we'll be reviewing for the final exam on the following week. So take care, and if you have any questions, as always, please share that you reach out, and I will teach you guys later. Bye.